Black waitress drags her manager into the bathroom to teach him a lesson. But she never knew who was watching the bathroom door slam shut with a bang that echoed through the empty hallway. Inside, a tall black woman in a coffee-stained apron had her manager backed against the sink, her finger pointed straight at his chest like a weapon. "You think I don't know what you've been doing?" Her voice was low and dangerous. "You think I'm stupid?" Robert's face had gone white as paper. His hands shook as he gripped the edge of the sink behind him. "Nicole, please. Just let me explain." "Explain?" Nicole's laugh was sharp and bitter. "Oh, I'm going to give you a chance to explain, all right. But first, you're going to listen to every single thing I have to say." The fluorescent lights buzzed overhead. The lock on the door clicked as Nicole turned it. Robert's eyes darted toward the small window near the ceiling, but there was no escape. He was trapped. What Robert didn't know, what Nicole didn't know either, was that someone was watching. Someone who had followed them down that hallway. Someone whose presence would change everything about this moment. But that revelation was still to come. 3 hours earlier, Nicole had walked into Murphy's diner with a smile on her face and hope in her heart. It was a cold Tuesday morning in December, and she'd just gotten her daughter's report card. Straight A's. Her baby was going to make it out of this town, going to have the chances Nicole never had. She pushed through the glass door, letting the warm air and smell of bacon wrap around her like a hug. The diner was already buzzing with the breakfast crowd, construction workers gulping coffee, elderly couples sharing pancakes, business people tapping on laptops between bites of eggs. "Morning, sunshine," called out Betty, the older waitress who'd worked at Murphy's for 23 years. Her gray hair was pulled back in a tight bun, and her smile had more warmth than the heating vents. "Morning, Betty." Nicole tied her apron around her waist and grabbed her order pad. She'd been working at Murphy's for 2 years now, ever since her husband left and the bills started piling up like autumn leaves. The work was hard. Her feet ached every night. But the tips were decent, and her co-workers felt like family. Or at least most of them did. Robert came out of the kitchen, his manager's badge catching the light. He was a thin man in his 40s with slick-back hair and a smile that never quite reached his eyes. When he saw Nicole, something flickered across his face, something that made her stomach twist. "Nicole, my office." Now. The warmth from her daughter's report card suddenly felt very far away. Nicole followed Robert down the narrow hallway past the kitchen, her heart starting to pound. His office was barely bigger than a closet, just a desk, 2 chairs, and walls covered in health inspection certificates and work schedules. Robert closed the door. The click seemed too loud. "Sit down," he said. Nicole remained standing. "What's this about?" Robert shuffled some papers on his desk, not meeting her eyes. "We've had some complaints." "Complaints?" Nicole's voice rose. "From who?" "Customers have said you're—" He paused, choosing his words carefully. "Aggressive. Unfriendly. One woman said you practically threw her plate down yesterday." Nicole's mouth fell open. "That's a lie. I've never—" "I'm going to need you to be more careful about your attitude." Robert leaned back in his chair, finally looking at her. "You know how it is. Some customers are sensitive about certain things." The way he said certain things made Nicole's blood boil. She knew exactly what he meant. She'd seen it before. The way some customers looked at her, the way they asked for Betty or the other white waitresses instead. "So I'm supposed to smile bigger? Bow lower?" The words came out sharper than she intended. Robert's face hardened. "I'm trying to help you here, Nicole. Unless you'd rather I start writing you up officially." Nicole bit her tongue so hard she tasted copper. She had bills due in 3 days. Her daughter needed new winter boots. She couldn't afford to lose this job. "Fine," she whispered. "Good. Now get back to work." Nicole turned toward the door, her hands clenched into fists. But as she reached for the handle, she heard Robert mutter something under his breath. "Can't teach some people manners." Nicole froze. Her hand hovered over the doorknob. Something inside her snapped like a dry twig, and suddenly she wasn't thinking about bills or boots or anything except the fury burning through her chest. She spun around. "What did you just say?" Robert's face went red. "Nothing. I didn't say anything." "Yes, you did." Nicole stepped closer to his desk. Her voice was steady now, cold as winter rain. Say it again. Say it to my face. You're overreacting. Say it. The office suddenly felt smaller, the air thicker. Robert stood up, trying to use his height to intimidate her, but Nicole didn't back down an inch. You need to leave my office right now or I'm calling the owner, Robert said, reaching for his phone. Nicole's mind raced. The owner, Mr. Patterson, was Robert's college buddy. They played golf every Thursday. She'd seen Robert mess up orders, show up late, even pocket cash from the register, and nothing ever happened to him. But she knew if she walked out of this office right now, Robert would twist this whole thing around. By tomorrow, she'd be the angry black woman who threatened her manager. Call him, Nicole said, but first you're going to hear what I have to say. I don't have to listen to... Yes, you do. Nicole pulled out her phone. Because I've been recording every conversation we've had for the past 3 months. Robert's face went from red to white in seconds. You've been what? Every time you made a comment about my hair. Every time you gave me the worst shifts while giving Betty and the others prime hours. Every time you pocketed my tips and told me I counted wrong. Nicole held up her phone. It's all right here. The silence in the room was deafening. Robert's mouth opened and closed like a fish gasping for air. You're bluffing, he finally said, but his voice shook. Try me. Nicole's thumb hovered over her phone screen. Or better yet, let's go somewhere private where you can't run to Mr. Patterson. Somewhere we can have an honest conversation about what's really been happening here. She grabbed his arm. The bathroom. Now Robert tried to pull away, but Nicole's grip was iron. She'd spent 2 years swallowing her pride, biting her tongue, accepting disrespect with a smile. Not anymore. She dragged him out of the office and down the hallway. That's when someone stepped out of the supply closet behind them, phone in hand, recording everything. Inside the bathroom, Nicole finally released Robert's arm and locked the door behind them. Her chest heaved with anger and adrenaline. 2 years of humiliation were pouring out of her like water from a broken dam. You've stolen from me, Nicole said, her voice shaking. You've disrespected me. You've made me feel small every single day I've worked here. Robert backed against the sink, his confidence crumbling. Nicole, look, maybe we can work something out. Work something out? Nicole laughed bitterly. You mean like how you worked out giving yourself credit for my sales numbers last month? Or how you worked out telling Mr. Patterson I was late when I was actually covering Betty's shift? Robert's eyes widened. How did you? Betty told me everything. She's tired of watching you treat people like garbage too. Nicole pulled up her phone, scrolling through her recordings. She's the one who told me to start documenting everything. And boy, do I have a collection. She pressed play on one recording. Robert's voice filled the small bathroom. These people always think they're owed something. You give them an inch, they take a mile. Robert lunged for the phone, but Nicole stepped back. Touch me and I'll add assault to the list of things I'm reporting. You can't prove I was talking about you, Robert sputtered. I don't have to. I have 12 recordings just like this, plus the security footage of you taking money from the register, plus testimony from 3 other employees who've had enough. Nicole's voice grew stronger with each word. You're done, Robert. The only question is whether you resign quietly or whether I take all of this to the state labor board. Robert slumped against the sink, defeated. What do you want? I want you to write a confession. Everything you've done, to me and to everyone else you've treated like dirt. And then I want you to walk out of this diner and never come back. And if I don't, Nicole's smile was cold, then I'll make sure everyone knows exactly who you are. Outside the bathroom door, the person with the phone kept recording, capturing every word. But it wasn't who Nicole thought it was. It wasn't another employee or a customer. It was Mr. Patterson himself. He'd come in early through the back entrance to surprise Robert with golf tickets. Instead, he'd heard shouting and followed the sound. Now he stood frozen, his phone recording everything, his face growing darker with each revelation. The bathroom door suddenly swung open with such force it hit the wall. Nicole and Robert both jumped, spinning around to see Mr. Patterson standing there, his phone still raised, his face red with fury. Mr. Patterson, Robert started, his voice cracking. Shut up. Mr. Patterson's voice was like thunder. He was a large man with gray hair and calloused hands from the years he'd spent working in his diner before it became successful. I heard everything. I recorded everything. Robert's legs seemed to give out. He slid down the wall until he was sitting on the bathroom floor, his head in his hands. Nicole stood perfectly still, unsure what would happen next. She'd expected to fight this battle alone, to possibly lose her job anyway. She hadn't expected this. Mr. Patterson looked at her, and his angry expression softened. "How long has this been going on?" "2 years, sir," Nicole said quietly. "But it got worse these past few months." Mr. Patterson closed his eyes and took a deep breath. When he opened them again, he looked 10 years older. "Why didn't you come to me?" Nicole almost laughed. "With respect, sir, you and Robert are friends. I didn't think you'd believe me over him." The words hung in the air like smoke. Mr. Patterson looked down at Robert, who was still crumpled on the floor, and something in his face changed. Disappointment mixed with disgust. "I trusted you," Mr. Patterson said to Robert. "I gave you a management position because I thought you cared about this place. About the people who work here?" He shook his head. "Get up. You're done." Robert looked up with desperate eyes. "Jim, please, we've been friends for 20 years. Friends don't steal. Friends don't treat people like garbage." Mr. Patterson's voice was firm. "You have 10 minutes to clean out your locker and leave. If you're still here after that, I'm calling the police about the money you took from the register." Robert scrambled to his feet and rushed past them, not looking back. The bathroom fell silent except for the drip of a leaky faucet. Mr. Patterson turned to Nicole, and she saw genuine sadness in his eyes. "I'm sorry," he said simply. "I should have been paying closer attention. I should have made sure my employees felt safe coming to me with problems." Nicole felt tears prick her eyes, but she blinked them back. "What happens now?" "Now?" Mr. Patterson managed a small smile. "Now I'm offering you Robert's position. Manager, better pay, better hours, and a formal apology to everyone in this diner for what you've been through." Nicole's mouth fell open. "Sir, You stood up for yourself when it would have been easier to stay quiet. You documented everything properly. You protected yourself and others." Mr. Patterson extended his hand. "That's exactly the kind of person I want running my diner." Nicole shook his hand, feeling like the weight of 2 years had just lifted off her shoulders. "Thank you, sir." As they walked out of the bathroom together, Betty was waiting in the hallway with wide eyes. "Is everything okay?" Nicole smiled, a real smile this time. "Everything's going to be just fine."